Hangman is a classic word guessing game. In this tutorial we will create it in Go. In case you don't know how to play Hangman, here is how it works. The computer picks a random word. The word is hidden as underscores, and your job is to guess the word, and you will be guessing one letter at a time. So let's try. O, and as we can see on the screen, O is in the word. What if we do L? L is also in the word. What if we do B? And you can see we only now have 5 attempts left, and the hangman has been drawn more. T, same with that one, is not in the word. Now, I already know what the word is, and the word is Golang. So G-A-N. Let's start building the game. Start by creating a new Go project. In a terminal, you can run go mod init hangman. Next, we will create a main.go file. Main.go. This file will belong to the package .main, and we will also create a main function. So func main. Inside this function, we will declare some variables. Word, and we set that equal to be Golang. And this will be the word that we have to guess. For now, it will be hard-coded, but later we will generate a random one. And then we say how many attempts there should be, attempts, and it will be 6. Then we will have another variable called current word state, and we set that to initialize current word state, and this will be a function that we're gonna pass a word. After that, we will print a welcome message, so fmt println welcome to hangman. After that, we will call another function called display current state, and for that function we will pass the current word state, attempts. The next step is to create those two functions. So we will start with initialize current word state, func initialize current word state, and it will accept a word that is of type string, and it will return a string slice. We create a variable and call it current word state. We set that to be make string slice and the length of the word. So len word. We'll create a slice, and with the same length of the word, we will now fill this slice with underscores. For I, set that to be range current word state. And inside the loop is a current word state and the index. We set that to be equal to underscore. And then at the end of the function, we will just return the slice. So return current word state. And the next function we will create is the display current state. So func display current state. And this will accept the current word state. It will be a string slice, so string. And then we pass the attempts. So attempts. That will be an int. And inside this function, we will say fmt println current word state. As a second argument, we will do strings dot join. We pass the current word state, and then as a second argument to the strings dot join, we will have a space. So this will take the slice and turn it into a string, and all the items in the slice will be separated by a space. After that, we want to print how many attempts we have left. So fmt println attempt left, and then we pass the attempts. We can now try to run this. So open a new console, and you can type go run /, and you will see welcome to hangman current word state, and this is a word and is hidden by underscores, and this tells how many attempts we have left. It looks like I have misspelled the welcome word, so let's fix that. It should be welcome. So the next things we're gonna do is read the user input and create a game loop. We can create a new variable and call it scanner, and it will use the buffio package, and then we will use the new scanner method, and we will pass the standard input. So os and then standard in. And now we can create a function to get the user input. Func get user input. We will pass the scanner, and it will be of type Buffio scanner. Inside this function we can call scanner.scan, and then we just return scanner.text, and we also need to specify the return type. It should be string. And now we can create our game loop. So under the welcome message, we want to do for attempt is bigger than 0. And we can move this function inside the loop. And here we will create a new variable. So user input, and we set that to be get user input, and we pass our scanner. And then we want to check if the user input is valid. So we can do if is valid input. We pass user input, and this will be a function that we will create. And in case the input is not valid, we can print out a message. So fmt print line invalid input. Please enter a single letter. And in that case, we just want to continue the loop and not proceed with any more steps. So let's create that function. Func is valid input. It will take a input string as argument, and then it will return a boolean. Inside the function, to check if the string is valid, we can use the UTF-8 package. So UTF-8 rune count in string, and we pass the input. And then we can return the result, so return. And we want to check if the length is equal to 1. And after that, we can create a new variable, and we will call it guess letters. And we will set that to be a map. So we can do make map, and the case will be string, and the values will be boolean. This will keep track of all the letters we have guessed. And under this if statement, we can do a new if statement. So if guessed letters, and then we pass user input. So in case user input exists in guessed letters, that means we have already guessed it, and we can print out you already guessed that letter. And then we can just continue the loop. Continue. Else, what we want to do is we want to update the guessed letter map. Guessed letters user input, and we set that to be true. And after that, we want to check if the guess is correct and update the current word state. Correct guess, and we set that to be a function called update guessed. We will pass the word, current word state, and then the user input. And we can now create the update guess function. Func update guessed, first argument, word, and there will be a string. Second one, guessed, there will be a string slice. And the third we will call letter, and set that to be string. We will return a boolean. So if the letter is in the word, we will return true, else we will return false. And inside the function body, we can say correct guess, set that to be false. And then we will loop over the word for I char, set that to be range word if string char equal letter. That means we found a match. In that case, we want to update the slice. So guess and index, set that to be letter. Correct guess will be true. And then we can just return correct guess. So if a match is found, the underscore will be replaced with the letter. Now we can do a check here. If it's not a correct guess, then we want to decrement the attempt. Attempts minus. And now we need a way to display the hangman figure. So we can write display hangman, and we will pass 6, which is our initial attempts, minus attempts. And after that we can create a new file. So a new file, and we will call it hangmanstate.go. We will set the package to be main, and we will create a new variable, var hangman states. We set that to be a string slice, string, and as a values I have cheated a little bit, so I will paste in some code. And these are strings of the different Hangman states. All this code can be found on my website, or it can also be found on GitHub. And now we can go back to main.go. We can create the display hangman function. Func display hangman. As argument, we will say incorrect guesses. It will be of type int. And here we will do a check if incorrect guesses is bigger or equal to 0 and incorrect guess is less than the length of the hangman states. Then we can print it out. fmt print line hangman states, and as an index we will use the incorrect guesses, so incorrect guesses. So let's say that incorrect guesses is 0. It will then read the hangman states from this file, and it will print out this one. If the incorrect guesses is 1, it will print out this one, and so on. We can now try to run the code and see the result. So go run dot slash. So we get a welcome message as before, and we see the current state and how many attempts we have left. And we can now start guessing the word. So let's write O, and we can see that O was in the word. L was also in the word. What if we do K? K was not in the word. W, not in the word. And we can also see how the stickman is being drawn. However, if we guess the word correct, so G-A-N, the game doesn't stop. So the next step will be to check if the user has won or if it has lost. And after we displaying the hangman, we can add 2 checks. If is word guessed, it will be a function, and we will pass current word state word. In that case, we can write the message. So fmt print line congratulations, you guessed the word, and then we pass the word. Then we can just end the loop by returning. And to check if the user have lost, we can do if attempts equals 0. We will print game over. The word was, and we pass the word, and then we just return and break the loop. So let's add the isWordGuessed function. Func is word guessed. It will take 2 arguments, so guessed, that will be a string slice, and then the word, it will be string, and it will return a boolean. So here we can return, write strings, .join, passing guessed, empty string, and we set that to be equal to word. The only thing left to do now is to generate a random word, and to do that we will create a new file, words.txt, and I will paste in some words that I already prepared. This file will be available on GitHub. Go back to our main function, and at the top we can replace this one with word, and then another variable called error, and we want to set that to be get random word. And as an argument, we will pass words.txt. We can then check if error not equal to nil. In that case, we will print error reading word file. And we can just return from here. So let's create a get random word file. Func get random word, and as an argument, it will take a file name, and it will be a string, and it will return 2 values. The word, and if there is an error, it will return that. So we will create 2 new variables, data and error. We set that to be os.readFile. We pass the file name. We check if there is an error. If error not equal to nil, in that case, return an empty string and the error. Otherwise, we create a variable called words, and here we will use strings.split. We will pass the data, and we will cast it to a string, so string data, and we will separate it by a new line. So if we check in the words file again, you can see every word is on a new line. So this will create a slice, and every element will be a word. And then we can return words, And here we will pick a random element from the slice, and we can do that by using rand int n, pass the length of the words, and then as the second return value, because there is no error, so we just return nil here. And that's it. We built a complete Hangman game in Go. Feel free to expand and enhance the game further. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned something from it. See you in the next one.